You're not trying to become someone who knows more. You're already there. You're trying to become someone who follows through. And those are two very different people. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You start strong. Monday hits. You're just in it. You're like, this is it. I'm done messing around. Tuesday, still good. Wednesday, life starts creeping in. Now your morning gets thrown off, your kids need something, your work runs late, you're tired, and instead of adjusting, you just don't do it. And you tell yourself you'll make it up later, and then you don't. Even Thursday and Friday feel a little looser. And then the weekends come around and there's no structure. You snack a little more, you're less structured. You're like, I'll just restart Monday. And then the weekend, it's not even that you go crazy. It's just you stop paying attention and nothing feels like a big mistake. That's why it's so frustrating. That's why it's so confusing. Because it just feels like normal life. I know you're frustrated because you feel like you know what to do, but nothing is actually working. You keep seeing the before and afters, the highlight reels. You can literally picture how you want to look, how you want to feel. You want to feel confident, comfortable, like actually good in your body. Like you could throw on a swimsuit and not overthink it. And instead, you feel stuck, uncomfortable, kind of self-conscious all the time. And it's not because you're doing nothing. That's the part that makes it so frustrating, because you are trying. You're thinking about it, planning, telling yourself you're gonna be more consistent, and still somehow ending up in the same place because you are trying. So at some point, you start wondering, what am I missing? You're planning your workouts, you're saving videos. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do upper body Monday, lower body Tuesday. I'll add in cardio, I'll walk more. You book the gym 5 days a week and then you don't go to any of them. Or you sign up for a 5K, like this will force me to get into a routine. And then you don't train. You just kind of survive it. Just technically you check it off the list. And then you're like, why do I feel like crap? And it's frustrating because you are not dumb. Quite the opposite. You know what you're doing. You know you overcomplicate things. You know you try to do way too much. And yet, you're still in the same place. And then there's this other layer where you're like, but I do eat pretty healthy. Like, you're not out here eating fast food every meal. You're making real food. You're making better choices. You're aware of ingredients. You're stressed out about seed oils. And what about the basics? You're trying to clean everything up, but nothing actually sticks. And at the end of the day, you're just like, why does this feel so hard? Why can't I trust myself? Why do I always have to overcomplicate things? Consistency lies in picking up the pieces. But here's the truth. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. The opposite. You're stuck because your effort is scattered. You're putting energy into planning, thinking, researching, restarting, but not into consistent execution. And your body doesn't respond to how much you care. It responds to what you repeat. And the things that actually move the needle, they're not complicated. You know them. They're just not optional. You don't need a perfect diet. You need a consistent one, which means you're not on during the week and then off during the weekend. You're not restarting every Monday. You're not obsessing over one ingredient while ignoring the big picture like protein and consistency. You're just showing up the same way most of the time. Boring? Yeah. Effective? Also, yeah. You don't need more workouts. You need to repeat them. You need consistent ones that you can realistically do. You can't just do random workouts, switch programs every week, go all in one weekend and then all out the next, go hard one day and then disappear for 4, and expect your body to change and feel better in it. Your body changes when you give it reason to, repeatedly. That means getting stronger, improving something, building on what you did last week, not just burning calories and hoping for the best. And this one might sting a little. You tell yourself you're putting everyone else first, your kids, your family, your work, your responsibilities, and it feels selfless. But what actually happens? You end up drained, inconsistent, frustrated, taking it out on yourself, which is no help to your loved ones. And then nothing changes. That's not selfless. That's the pattern that keeps you stuck. Taking care of yourself consistently is not selfish. quite the opposite. It's the thing that makes everything else work better. And this one might be the biggest one. You keep all of this in your own head. You set goals, but only you know about them. You make plans, but no one is holding you to them. So when you don't follow through, nothing happens. You just quietly restart again and again and again. At some point, you have to bring someone else into it. Not because you're incapable, but because you shouldn't have to rely on willpower alone. Change takes a lot of work and a lot of honesty, because here's what it really comes down to. Right now, you're operating like someone who plans, thinks, restarts. That is the consistency, the restart. But the version of you that gets results, she shows up. She does the workout she said she'd do, even if it's not perfect. She keeps her habits consistent, even when life is chaotic. She doesn't disappear every time things get inconvenient. She takes herself seriously, even when it feels like she's putting others last. And I know you're capable of that. You know you're capable of that. That's why this bothers you, because you've seen glimpses of it. You've had weeks where you're consistent. You've felt what that's like. You just haven't stayed there. And at some point, you have to decide you're done being that version of you that always keeps starting over. Not perfectly, not all at once, but in the way you show up tomorrow and the next day and the next. You don't need a new plan. You don't need to try harder. You need to stop scattering your effort and start repeating the things that actually matter in the way you see yourself, because once you do that, everything changes. And that starts with how you see yourself.